and we measure GDP and so on, and then that's important. Clearly we have to measure the wealth and so on. But how are people doing?
It's certainly the case, even here in Vermont, there are people who just don't have much contact with the internet. So we won't be reaching that segment of the population, and that's an acknowledged weakness. But we will be reaching a tremendous number of people.
We've been able to find out a number of things because now we're watching what people do. We're not asking them how they feel. We're watching how they express themselves.
And the boundary between public and private has always been blurry and shifting. It's certainly fascinating that people find things like Facebook so galvanizing. It seems like there's maybe a third kind of social space. People don't want to just be communicated to, they want to communicate with others, but also they understand that communication with others involves constructing communities.
I think we've underestimated the impact that society at large has on people's images of themselves. And we see it coming up here and there, but I think the emphasis has been a lot on the significant other, for good reason, and that it's time to focus, I think, more consciously on the generalized other as well. We protect ourselves by forming groups with other people. And so as social beings, we form these groups. And so I think groups will always be pivotal, and what will shift is sort of the dimensions along which we make group distinctions.
I'm a latecomer, you know, I'm old. And so I go on and I found that I had only 2 or 3 friends, and then noticed that my friends had lots more friends, and so I felt kind of inadequate and like I needed to get more friends, and I went desperately around asking to be everybody's friend. And yeah, it's just like junior high all over again. But I think maybe the whole society is still in junior high in terms of how we use these things. We're just beginning and maybe doing a lot of embarrassing things with it right now, but I think as time goes on, this ability to use digital technologies to construct community will become more routine, and people will become more fluent in how to do it usefully.
So we're trying to find as many examples of text written by people as we can. So there's a lot of text available on the internet. So one of the first things we did was download every lyric to music over the last 50 years that we could find on the internet. I can walk across water. You know, we have roughly 200,000 song lyrics that we've processed through the same tool to try to find any trend, you know, with genre of music, or what is the level of happiness in songs. And we really found a very negative trend. Starting in 1950, very happy music, almost a straight line trend down to 2008.
The torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans.
We've looked to speeches by major political figures.
Whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Nancy and I are pained to the core by the tragedy of the shuttle challenge.
On this day, we gather because we have chosen hope over fear.
What we've been able to do is take those speeches and process them with our algorithm for understanding, you know, the positiveness or negativeness of how the receiver takes those words. You can see historical trends in these speeches, but this is something that, you know, the political world is very interested in. How is the rhetoric being received by people? You know, somebody who's writing a speech who needs to be very up to date and current with what's going on, you know, they can be aware of what people are saying across the world right now about what's going on, and that's something that has never been, up until recent history with the internet, you know, that's not been possible.
Today, I say to you that the challenges we face are real. They are serious and they are many. They will not be met easily or in a short span of time. But know this, America, they will be met.
So the ability to, design a particular speech to address what's happening right now and how, how that will be received by people over the internet. That's something that is really hot these days.
It starts to boggle the mind to think about all the personal information available on the internet, and makes one pause knowing there are people gathering and processing this information. Another internet application is collective participation. With the election of President Obama, we witnessed a pivotal moment: politics organized and executed on the internet. Some say using the internet for political action originated with Howard Dean's campaign in 2004.
A lot of people remembered Howard Dean as the guy who made the scream in Iowa that sunk his campaign, and that's really the least interesting part of the Dean campaign.
Today I announce that I am running for the presidency of the United States of America.
What happened during the Dean campaign was the discovery of ways to be very authentic and very genuine on the internet. The first time Howard Dean blogged, it was him. He just got on one late night because he heard there was all this stuff was going on and sent some messages and did a little blogging. The internet proved to be a very powerful way for people to connect up on the ground, often for face-to-face purposes. Once they were in those local groups and wanted to do something on behalf of Howard Dean, they were able to use the internet to both organize things to do and figure out what might be done. So the campaign was much more decentralized than any major campaign, at least in the last 50 years. It was a particular use of the internet in a social context that enabled people to really feel they could do something rather than just be passive spectators with regards to politics. There would be no President Obama had there been no Dean campaign. There's a whole generation of people entering politics right now that are coming to an understanding of how to be involved in politics, experimenting with different ways to connect people together, with being innovative about how you do it, with not just following the old rules about how to do democracy.
We know that people working together produce tremendous things. A lot of innovation comes out of groups working together. The Wikipedia, so we have these understandings, but we need some controlled experiments to really study these things in depth.
Something we're working on is developing web-based games, one of which will be where people are asked to identify, how they feel when they hear particular phrases.
We're going to call the site Play, and there'll be all sorts of experiments studying things like collective creativity, collective problem solving, looking at how emotion is moved around in groups, things like contagion, how things spread, how messages spread.
There are many things that you can do when you conduct research on the internet that you cannot do when you conduct more small-scale research. You can involve thousands, tens of thousands of people, and you can involve people from all kinds of backgrounds. In social psychology in particular, but also in other social sciences, a lot of the participants that we rely upon are college students. By conducting research over the internet, we can tap into people of all age groups, from all kinds of backgrounds, socioeconomic, ethnic, racial, from different countries. We can do cross-cultural work. So the sky's the limit.
We need to have both a scientific value to our games, there really will be games, but they also have to be fun.
Our general idea would be to have many games that would appeal to a lot of people to go and play, and would again provide us with vast amounts of data and hopefully then vast amounts of insights into human behavior. And so I'm working on developing other ideas for the games that people can play and translating what we believe are important social questions into a game-like format. So much of our interaction takes place over the internet these days, and that's had a huge shift in how we present ourselves to others, what kinds of things we emphasize when we present ourselves to others.
We don't understand the rules which govern social systems, but that's why we're designing these experiments, is to try and get a better sense for how social systems interact, or people within social systems interact.
There's a sort of a Wild West feel to it. It's just exciting. You're not really sure what's around the corner. And we're full of messages. Some are religion, some are science, some are just from the media, something's fun about celebrities, all these things floating around. And I think after a while, it was so much information that we actually kind of have to think about how we consume it, much as you would with food, right? It's junk information, if you like. We've moved to a new period where our interactions are recorded at an incredible, to an incredible degree. We can now just even sort of drop any question we have for a while and just simply look. Simply look. It's as if, if we were talking about astronomy, it's as if someone has pulled the roof off the house and you were only able to look through a point before.
Clearly, technology, the internet, and even robotics are part of our daily lives and will continue to play a role in our society. As our scientists remind us, we can choose what we are exposed to and how we integrate information. America is recommitted to leading the world in innovation and scientific discovery, and emerging science will continue to tell the evolving story of science in our time. I'm Amy Seidel. Join me next time for more Emerging Science.